Okay. The first one is investment banking. Obviously, everybody would have heard about investment banking, or anybody who wants to start a career in finance will always first talk about the investment banking profile, right? Um, it is the most sought after profiles in finance that is there. What does an investment banker do, or what does an investment bank do? To just give you very briefly, the banking or the investment banks do three kinds of work. One is help you raise funds, right? So it could be an IPO, it could be raising money through private equity or through other methods. It could also be raising money through debt. So it helps the companies to raise debt, or sorry, raise funds. Second thing that they do is they do advisory for M&A, mergers and acquisition. Right? At what price you should buy, how should you negotiate, what are the things that you have to look at when you are acquiring another company or when you are selling your company. So the M&A, they help you do mergers and acquisition, helping sell your company or helping buy another company. Finally, they also have this advisory business where they could help people, or they could help companies understand what would be the best way of let's say restructuring their current loans, right? What would be the best options of raising debt or equity? From where should we look at those? So they do a lot of these advisory business. So these are three important things that an investment banker or an investment bank does. Why is it most sought after profile? Because obviously it is one of the highest paying profile in finance. So most of the people at the top of a particular college or top of particular qualification, they want to finance qualification, they want to get into this profile. But what you also need to understand is that there are various parts to the investment banker, right? There is this front office. So typically what I talked about, most of the cream work of these three things, most of the cream work would be done by the front office. The middle office guys are the ones who are supporting this particular function, right? So the middle office guys will be supporting the front office guys. The back office guys are just focused on certain operations, right? For example, I'll start off with the back office. So what a back office operation will include: investment bank, a large investment bank, let's say a Goldman Sachs or a JP Morgan or Morgan Chase, they do a lot of transaction on a daily basis, right? The operations guys will be looking at settling those transactions and doing the absolute back end part of it. They are not involved in any kind of analytical work. Their job is just to ABCD. They keep doing the same thing again and again. So this is one reason that obviously, because you keep doing the same thing, your growth in such profiles are low, right? Also, what happens is the largest chunk of investment banking job opportunities available today in India would be into the back office operations. But this is a place where you ideally do not want to be, or most of the people would not want to be, because it is not the real investment bank that we talk about. It's not the glamorous profile of investment banking that we generally talk about. So you do this process oriented job. The number of profiles very high and the growth is very low. From here, one of the challenging aspect is there are very few exit opportunities. So if you get into such kind of a profile, you should ensure that you come out of such profile in 1 year or maximum 2 years. Because if you spend a lot of time into this profile, then the only way to keep growing is just to keep growing in that particular profile. You cannot move out from there, and the growth opportunities are less, because what happens is, I said, there are large chunk of such people hired. So let's say 200 people are hired for a back office operation, fresh graduates. Now out of that 200, only 3, 4, 5 can actually go and become managers. Not everybody can become a manager. So they have to, they have to find some exit routes. And as I said, the exit routes are not so easy to find. I mentioned that also. What you can try and do if you are into the back office, obviously from the back office, move to the middle office, right? But the skill set required in the middle office is very different from the skill set required in the back office. So it is challenging, but if you plan it in a year or maximum 2 years of joining, there is possibility of moving from here to here. The other thing that you can look at is operational roles in investment, in the general banking. So banking also has got some operational roles. There you can move out. But so one of the problems with this back office job opportunity is there are very few exit routes, and the exit routes also are not easy to get. From the back office, if you look at to the middle office, right? The middle office guys are doing a bit of analytical work, or I would say a fairly large amount of analytical work. It is typically a desk job, but you're not interacting with the ultimate clients. So you would be typically interacting with the front office guys, right? So the kind of profile that you are doing some analytical work. So that's the good part. The not so good part is that you're not interacting with the clients, right? So that is there. But middle office is the best place for people who are not coming from top MBA colleges or those who are not CA rankers. Middle office is a good starting point, right? Uh, in terms of what are the growth prospects, obviously you can become a sector expert. So as you work in the middle office, I am talking the investment banking only from the aspect of the research part of it. I'm not getting into all parts of investment banking. So you can become a sector lead if you are tracking a particular sector for 5-7 years. Then you can become a sector expert, and then over a period of time you can be a sector expert. From here, where can you move out? So there is fairly good amount of opportunities to move out. One of the things, the easiest thing to move out is into FP&A, because again, the skills that are acquired here are easily transportable, right? It is used in FP&A. You can obviously try and move from here to here with some additional push for yourself. Some of the people who are working in the middle office would typically want to do CFA, and once they complete CFA, they try and move to the front office. Though CFA is not the only thing that can take you there. Obviously, you can move from here if you are working with a decent company. You can work in a small consulting firm also, and from here there is also an opportunity to get to corporates. If you go, there are a lot of this investor relation profile. So the work that is done in the investor relation profile has a lot of overlap skill set from this middle office. So from there you can try and push yourself into those corporate finance profile. The front office obviously is the best kind of a profile that is available. What you typically do is obviously the analytical part, but you also interact with the clients, right? So let's say a company has come to you for mergers and acquisition. You will deal with that. You will take them through the complete process. You are the face of the company for that. So people in the front office obviously are interacting with the clients. They also explain to the clients all the things that is done by the middle office and how it will work out. Obviously, they themselves do some of the things that the middle office guys do. They will do all the cream stuff here, and then a part of that is outsourced to the middle office. This is, as I said, one of the best profiles in finance available, the front office investment banking. You would typically want to grow into these profiles only. There are not many exit opportunities because it is such a good profile. So exit opportunities, you can look at consulting roles. right, which are of similar level to an investment banking, or you can get into the finance department of a particular company at a high position of let's say CFOs, or maybe a couple of point below, a couple of levels below the CFO, and look at the company strategy and all this stuff. So this is what is investment banking. I told you this is the largest number of profiles available, but I would typically not want to stay in this back office profile for more than a couple of years. Middle office is where we would like to start typically if you're not coming from a top MBA colleges, or you're not a CA ranker, then you will typically start in the middle office, and your work will be to push yourself from middle office to the front office. So this is about the investment banking profile. If you look at the market in India in terms of job opportunities available, the largest chunk of opportunity that is available is outsourced, right? So it will fall in this or this bracket. Our own investment banks in India, the domestic investment banks, are comparatively small. There are not so many deals happening. So most of the investment banking deals that are happening are abroad, and there are companies, all of them set up their own, either their own outsourcing units here, or outsource to some third party. So outsourcing is the largest chunk of opportunity available, and majority of the opportunity will be available in the back office, and a fair amount of opportunity in the middle office. The front office role opportunities available are also less, because our own domestic investment banking is not that great. In terms of skill set required, what are the skill set required? Now, this is the skill set required in terms of somebody who is getting into that profile, who is a fresher and getting into that profile. The requirement could change as we grow into that particular profile. So what is the must-have skills, or those skills that the companies definitely look out when they are hiring? You should be able to build models. Financial models is what you should be able to build. You should be very clear with your concept of valuation, both the DCF valuation and the relative valuation. So this is must-have skills. Obviously, in an investment bank, you also build pitch books and write reports. So that is a skill set that is also required. But when you're starting fresh, not everybody is expecting that you will be able to do the writing work. So not all the companies are asking you for the writing stuff. Apart from that, if you really are keen to getting into this, and you can get access to some database like Capital IQ, Bloomberg, it is very difficult to get access to these because they are very, very costly. But if you get access to them, then you learn these database. If you can't learn them, it is okay. It's not a must-have stuff in those profiles. So these are the skill set that you will require to get your first job into the middle office or the front office. I am not talking about the back office. So this is where I will quickly stop. I have one more slide on investment banking, but I'll quickly stop here and check with people for questions.
So what's the last thing we're speaking about? Capital IQ. What is that?
Basically, there are databases, right? These are databases which give you information about companies. They give you information about commodities and all those things. So S&P Capital IQ, it is a database which has got data for so many years for thousands of companies, actually lakhs of companies. And all this database, you should be able to access that database and retrieve information from that database.
Okay, understood. So it's like database of the all the companies which is listed
Correct.
around this. Okay.
Correct. Not
And
just listed, they also have private company data.
data. Okay. So the primary skill set which are discussing about that building models, right?
Correct.
So this is like an financial modeling. So we will build a models to fix that company to came out with something. So it's like a merger or demerger or acquisition, right?
Correct.
So
Ultimate purpose is valuation.
valuation, yeah, valuation. So that that client will be satisfied with that models, so they will execute that, right?
So no,
So
you have to understand it like this. The investment banks are not just building models. See, you will build the model, but you are the one who also have to get the deal done.
okay.
If you get your valuation too low, then so let's say you are helping out a company to sell their business, right? If you come out with a very low valuation, the company will not accept, right? If you come
Yeah,
out with a very high valuation, the other company who wants to buy will not accept. See,
okay.
it kind of it's not just satisfying one client, right? Because ultimate satisfaction will come only once you receive the money, right? I can say that today my company Skill Grad is, let's say, millions of dollars, but there has to be some buyer for it, right?
Yeah,
So,
valuation should be reasonable
right, it should be reasonable. There are multiple um,
factors.
right, and multiple ways of valuation companies. So there are three ways that we do. One is obviously the DCF valuation. The other
Okay,
one is relative valuation, which has got two parts or two ways of doing relative valuation, what we call as comparable company analysis and comparable transaction analysis.
understood. It's a
So,
FFM. It's close near to FFM, fair market.
right, it is not the fair market value. Generally, we say whatever is available in the market, right? But here
Yeah,
we're talking typically of companies which are not listed. So to find out fair market value is very difficult.
okay.
If you have listed company, you have a market value, right? Clearly, that market
Yeah,
value, and then that gives you at least a fair amount of idea of what will be the value of the company. But we're talking about private companies,
yeah, not listed.
not listed. So you will have to, they rely a lot on this valuation,
Relative valuation. Okay,
relative
what's
and
the
DCF.
DCF? DCF is a primary. Yeah, that is that's what's the third thing, sir?
The relative valuation has got two components.
Two parts: comparable transaction and a
And
comparable company.
company. So basically, you look at similar listed company and find out what is the valuation of those, and typically try and replicate that for your own company with some adjustments. For example, simplest example, this is um, let's say the PE ratio, right? So
Yeah.
let's say you are evaluating a company which is into the IT sector, and that company has to be sold. So what you do is find out related companies in the IT sector, find out the PE for that particular group of companies, right? The list or comparable companies, and find out an average valuation, PE
Okay.
ratio, and say that, okay, my company will also have a similar PE ratio.
Okay.
And based on that, you do the valuation. This is called as comparable company valuation. Comparable transaction valuation is to find out if there are similar companies sold earlier and at what value or at what pricing they were sold.
Okay.
And
The
based
last.
on not the immediate last, you could look at multiple such transactions, because it may not be easy to get one company which is exactly comparable to your company.
Okay, understood. Okay, it's based on the history, based on the industry specific history.
Right.
Okay.
Industry specific history related to mergers and acquisition.
Related to mergers and acquisition. Okay,
Correct.
because we are selling one company, right?
Correct. Buying or selling, either way, it will work out.
Either
So,
way, it will put
in fact, what happens is most of the time there will be investment bank with the buying company, and there will be a separate investment bank with a selling company.
okay. So the two merchant banks will be involved in that.
Right. We call them investment bank, not merchant bank, because typically when we say merchant bank, we are talking about companies which are going public. For them, the work done is basically by the merchant banks.
Okay, investment banks. Okay, understood. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, actually, I'm from engineering background. Now I am into MBA finance. So,
Hmm.
where to start, sir, for this investment banking? Like first step, second step, like
I
that.
think the first step, if are you done with your MBA finance, or you're currently pursuing MBA finance?
I'm first year of MBA, sir.
First year of MBA. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
basically, the first thing that you should target for is to get this skill set.
Yes, sir.
Once you've got this skill set, then the idea is to get to some kind of internship in a relevant company.
Oh, okay, sir.
So obviously the internship will also not come because everybody wants to get into such kind of internship, right? So this could be your way of segregating yourself from the others.
Okay, sir.
Now I've got a couple of profiles from various sources. Now this is the operations profile that I'm talking about, right? So typically some of them will just say at the top, if you see, it just says investment banking, but as you get inside, you see that it is just one part of operations which is related to corporate actions. Corporate actions typically mean dividend, mergers and acquisition, or any other kind of such related stuff. So you will just, in such a profile, what you will be doing is looking at various companies, seeing whatever corporate actions have happened for that particular company, take that and put that into a system. Your work is done. Somebody else will use that data to analyze, right? So this is the kind of profile that we would typically not want you to start with. But if you don't have choices, you can start here and focus on getting out of such profile within 1 to 2 years. This is the kind of profile we would typically want people to be in. This one does not require a lot of experience. It says that familiarity with databases. Now, this is also something that you have to understand. Now, it is saying 1 year of experience, and it is asking for databases. Now, very few people will have access to such databases in the first year, right? So you have to understand that this requirement is not one of the primary requirements, right? So that's what you will have to look at. What you will do, you see here, you will execute transaction for M&A. You will do valuation, see trading comparable. This is also called as the company comparable, comparable company transaction, comparable company valuation. This is also called as trading comparable. So you do industry analysis and similar stuff. So this is about investment banking, most sought after profile, but not everybody can get into it.
Sorry, I was lost for a few minutes. Just go through what was happening. Few minutes. Sorry.
So what I said is that this is the kind of profile, right? Investment banking operations, right? At the top of it, when you just search investment banking, it throws up this. When you click inside and see, it will show you as operation. This is not typically which I want you to apply for. You
Okay,
should
understood.
apply for this only if you're not getting a relevant job, and not stick with this profile for more than 1 to 2 years, maximum 2 years, not more than that. If you stay there for more than that, it will be very difficult to move out from there.
Okay, it will typically fix in that back office sector, back office
Correct.
segment.
Correct.
Understood. Thank you. Okay. Yeah.
And then this one is the one that I was talking typically that you should apply for or target for. You see M&A support you are doing. This is middle office. Okay, this is not going to be front office because it says help. You are not the one who is doing all the stuff. You are going to help out. So this is the middle office kind of profile. And you see here, it says familiarity with databases. Now, if you don't have familiarity, you should still go ahead and apply for it. Right?
Okay.
Because if you see, it is asking for 1 year of experience, right? A 1 year guy, familiarity with database is not possible, not always possible. Very few times it will be possible.
Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
you told about a CA who's non-rank holder can get into middle office.
Correct.
Does rank matter?
It does. Because you see, Abhi, may know your name?
Padma.
Parima. Parima, the point is that you see like this. Let's say you are in a particular investment bank. Okay, let's say you are recruiting people for front office.
Okay.
Now, when you post a job opportunity, you will get thousands of people,
Huh.
right? How will you select them? What will you do? I've got 1,000 resume, out of which 200 CAs are there.
We'll screen the resume based
Sorry,
on resume screening.
resume screening, right? So what will you screen in the resume? First is, can you for one
Finding the
single
best
profile,
people.
for one single profile, can you go through 300 resumes?
No.
Very difficult, right? So what will you do? You will filter. What you said is screening. So my best way of screening is, there are, out of this 200, there are 5 rank holders.
Yeah.
So they become my top priority. So first I will call them and do an interview with them. If they are not good enough or not fitting into my stuff, then I go to the others.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
That is where I was saying at the start, right? There has to be a balancing act. You should know what the profile is and what the requirement is, and you should also know where you are, and not
Yeah.
aspire for something which is not possible or which is very, very difficult. Instead, you start somewhere in between and then you try and push yourself up. I am not saying that you cannot get into front office. What I said is, if you are a non-rank holder, initially getting into front office is impossible or very difficult.
Yeah. Okay, sir.